You're listening to Turi Writer's She Said What podcast. I'm Turi, along with Marcy Persky. In this installment, if you've ever planned a long car trip, you know that the planning involves not just what you put in the picnic cooler, but what you anticipate hearing from your co-pilot and from the dog in the back seat. Also, Marcy's plague of grasshoppers increases. So
You're packing.
I'm packing, yes, and you've got a new mop. What is this one called?
It's coming tomorrow. It's like a
Highlight of your day.
the Shark 1700.
Oh, a Shark brand. Well, the Shark,
Yeah, it's a Shark.
Sharks. Those are
That's what I said. It's not like Oozy Pagoozy brand from the other
sleazy
edge of China.
bageezy. Yes. Well, it may be made in China, but at least it's got a name you recognize.
And I can return it if it doesn't work.
You've just made me think of something.
Yeah.
When you have something in your household that you thought worked well enough, and then you get the replacement model and it's orders of magnitude better, how much time do you spend kicking yourself that you kept the old thing going as long as you did?
I don't know. I don't think I do.
Really?
On the other hand, same kind of along the same line, I've been looking for a new car.
Oh,
And
yeah.
as you know, I love Duke Perry.
I do know you love Duke Perry.
I love Duke Perry, and I've refused to let him go.
Yes.
And he's a 2011, and he's weird looking. He's a little,
Kinky.
little kinky.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm looking at different cars now that are similar and probably better. And I'm wondering, once I'm out of Duke Perry into whatever newish car is going to replace him, if I'm going to feel like, damn, I drove this damn Duke for this long and suffered without heated seats and without a backup camera and without, all the newfangled stuff that they started making, I think, in 2012.
You realize, perhaps, that you could take this thing that you just said, this description of regret at not having moved on sooner, and you could just change a few words and it would apply to your ex-husbands.
It is such bad luck to talk about dead people. He could have been the one that put that half-dead mouse on.
Oh, God.
Who knows?
You're right. You realize that the same logic that apply. And if only you had the car problem first. If you'd had the car problem like 25 years ago or 30 years ago, I could have said to you, get the new car. And then when your second marriage was melting down, I could have said, remember that car problem and remember how glad you are? Remember how that turned out much better once you made the replacement?
Remember that ex-husband in your trunk that you traded in? Actually, we're selling Duke Perry to the kids.
That's right. You said that.
For way less than what the trade-in value would be, but we're just good like that.
You are good like that is one word for it. Yes.
And you're thinking sucker.
I do think that a lot, but it's not just about you, so don't take it personally.
Oh, I know, believe me. But yeah, I've been looking at cars now on the internet, sending them over to Frankie, and
yeah, but you're sending him cars that neither of you is going to buy.
No, I actually found a car that I like, but it has to have my specifications to it.
Is it a 2011 Nissan Juke that's beat to death?
Yeah. No,
I'm just so glad you didn't trade in the old husband for one who is exactly the same.
A Subaru Crosstrek is my goal.
That's perfect. Everyone will assume you're a lesbian and you won't get any unwanted attention from men.
No, these Crosstreks are very, they're
very heterosexual? No, they're not.
No, they're...
The Tesla is the pace car of Berkeley, and the Subaru is the official car of the women-loving women community. I'm just telling you that on the second date...
I'm not aware of that. I'm aware that a lot of people drive them up here.
I guess I'm thinking about this because here in Chicago, as we record this, the Pride Parade is lurching towards the finish line, even though it's had several small, almost tornado-esque squalls pass over it.
Oof.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would keep marching at that point.
I
Yeah.
would take that as an omen to hide. There was that the Louis Tomlinson concert at Red Rocks.
You,
Huge hail like pelted the crowd, and lots of people were injured. Like a severe storm came
oh,
through Red Rocks right
I
before the
heard
concert
about
was supposed
that.
to. Well, I don't think that I would sit there and watch it roll in, to be honest. I think I would be running toward my car.
I
And
don't.
these things don't all of a sudden appear down from the sky. You can see it
They don't.
coming,
They're not like biblical plagues, like locusts that descend.
like my grasshoppers
Yeah. How
right
are your
now,
grasshoppers, by the way?
everywhere,
Still?
everywhere. Yeah. Yep. Dogs are eating them. Cats are eating them.
Ooh.
Goats, no, because goats are, they just eat things that grow out of the ground. Anywhere I walk, there's like a grasshopper jumping up. So hopefully our monsoons will start soon up here.
Then what
Usually it's
happens?
around the 4th of July.
Does it wash
That'll
away
drown
the?
them.
Oh, it
Yeah.
drowns them. Oh, that's got to be pleasant.
I know. Do you really care about a pleasant death for grasshoppers?
No, I
You
mean,
of all people
no,
in my
no,
life.
no. I'm not empathizing with the grasshopper here. I'm just thinking about having to put on your hip waders, and there's all this dusty, mucky mud, and as a garnish on the top, it's totally frosted with dead grasshoppers. That's why I think it's
Well,
disgusting.
no, I think it depends on the strength of the early monsoons. If they're just like rain for an hour and then the sun comes out, it will soak into the ground. It's not like winter melting.
So that won't help you with the grasshoppers at all.
And everything will turn green and it will be lovely and delightful for a couple weeks.
15 minutes, yeah. We got that here in Chicago. We've got 15 minutes of spring and 15 minutes of fall. I feel your pain.
Yep.
So the road to Toronto is going to be a little bit anxious for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I brought the ancient vehicle in because it was making a weird noise.
Uh-oh.
And they said, well, I said, can you just tell me over the phone if I can drive this car? And he said, I'm worried about you driving the car until I hear the weird noise. And then they heard the weird noise and they said, we'll take it and we'll get it back to you. And that very same day, they gave it back to me, still making the weird noise. So I have no idea whether we'll actually make it there and back.
Who drives, by the way?
We
You
both-
or spousal union?
We both drive. I no longer drive at night much. I do a lot of the day driving. And,
Does he sit next to you and criticize your driving?
he sits next to me. Okay, get this. We can be on an interstate highway and there could be 400 miles from one exit to the next, and he'll still be giving me directions for the entire 400 miles. 300 miles till you have to exit. 287 miles till you have to exit. Now, that exit will be on the right. 260 miles, you'll be exiting on the right. It's exit. Okay. 200 miles. You'll be going north on exit 74. You don't want to go past. It's the one before the overpass. Okay. I don't know how he thinks I ever come home.
200 miles. Which is worse? Getting directions or getting constantly, oh, you're on that line. Oh, you're on that other line. Oh, why aren't you passing this guy? Oh, you're going too fast.
I do a little bit of that. Not a lot, but a little bit. I'll be
I'm
like,
a gasper. I'll go,
oh, yes, the dramatic inhale.
yes, I'm full of dramatic inhales when I'm not driving. Like, and it's like I can't control it.
My mother used to do the sucking in through the teeth.
No, I'm like a
There are lots of
Or-
kinds of critical breathing now that you mention it. Breathing is its own language.
or I'll grab onto what we call the Jesus bar.
Yes.
You know the bars up there where you grab on, you go, Jesus.
You were the one who told me why it was called that. But
Yes.
the breathing is a whole vocabulary when you stop to think about it. You've got the
It
gasp,
is.
and then my mother had the through the teeth. And then, of course, there's the exasperated sigh when the wrong turn is made, or when you don't hear the directions that were just given to you a moment ago.
Or an hour ago.
In the case of the
200
spouse.
miles. Yeah. Oh, I went 201 miles. Oh no.
I'm not really exaggerating. The directions
I'm sure you
persist
aren't.
the entire time, and my shotgun riding tends to be limited to, they'll ticket you at 20 miles over the limit.
Try to sleep.
Yeah.
So I'm not doing that kind of stuff. I'm really trying hard to sleep.
When we get in the car, I'm the one that has to take the dog tranquilizer.
Yeah.
The dog will be okay. And this is, by the way, the spousal unit's big cause. I don't know why. I went to the vet. I got a prescription. The dog hyperventilates and whines and barks the entire trip. And plus, if it's nice weather, you can't have the windows open because I'm afraid if she sees a dog she wants to go after, which is her Achilles paw, that she'll just leap right out the window of a moving car. And so we're going to crate her for the trip, but for some reason the spousal unit wishes to demonstrate to me that she's fine in the car.
Okay.
I'm like, why did I get this tranquilizer? Why is it not enough that I told you that I drove her 2 hours to Indiana and I wanted to pull out my hair because she didn't shut up the whole time? Why? What is it about that? What is it about when I drove her back from California and you could count down till the oncoming vehicle approached and she would go "Rah, rah, 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 rah," and hurl herself at the window? What is that about? Why don't they just believe you?
It has to do with that Y gene, I guess.
I don't know. Until a disaster happens. Then they're like,
Yep.
and the weird thing is, you could predict this disaster for like 6 months. If you do this, then that will happen. And then they don't come back and say, hey, you were right. I did this and that happened. They go, hey, guess what? If you do this,
Yeah.
that'll
Just like-
happen. And
Just
then,
like a family member, but we used to camp every weekend before we bought our own campground out here.
uh-huh.
And we've always had 3 dogs at a time. Usually there's 2 really good dogs and 1 not so good dog,
Special needs.
special needs. And one of our current special needs dogs has to be tied up everywhere because he's a runner. And he's 12 now and he still doesn't know where he gets his food. So, and then the other ones stay real close. So we're camping. A family member says, gee, I feel so bad for Minion. That's the big dog.
The runner.
Because he's tied up. Everybody else gets to just mill around. He's tied up to a stump. I'm just going to let him go and see what happens.
Uh-huh.
4 hours later, covered in burrs, covered in dirt, covered in everything, the dog comes back, pulling the family member who had to go through the forest, no trails, chasing this giant dog that looks like a wolf. But yes, it's the same thing. Oh, he won't run away, even though he's run away every other single time, every other chance that he's ever gotten. He's ripped apart fences to run away. He's special. He's not that bright.
But guess what? The person who brought back Minion will now tell you as though it's big news. Hey, we really should keep Minion tied up.
True, true, true.
Assuming you've come this far because you enjoy the podcast, may we recommend my book, She Said What? A Life on the Air. It's available at your neighborhood bookstore or on Amazon. And if you're feeling especially generous, please leave the podcast a good review. Thanks.